Hello again, high level listeners. Welcome back to another episode of High Level Listening, the show where we help you speak more naturally by comparing American and British English with your real life teachers. Hi, guys. I'm Kat from the United States, and I teach American English.
And I'm Mark from the UK, and I'll teach you British English. Today's episode is all about answering a classic small talk question: what do you like to do for fun? So we'll help you talk about things you like your hobbies, your interests, and the fun things you like to do in naturally spoken English.
Yes, and always, we already have the bonus materials ready for you in our Season 4 study pack with transcripts, a picture dictionary, listening activities, and more that you can find in our High Level Listening store, and you can see that in the link in the description below.
Okay, so let's get into today's story. Kat is going to go first, as always, and today I'm asking Kat, what do you like to do for fun?
Okay, well, what do I like to do for fun? Well, I'd say I'm a big fan of traveling. I don't get to do it as often as I'd like to, but hopefully I'll have more time to do it in the future. When I want to unwind, of course, I like watching TV. I didn't used to be into reality TV, but I really get into it when it's on. If I had more time, I'd probably spend every weekend planning a trip or watching a new show. All right, so that was my American English response. Let's hear from Mark with the same question. Mark, what do you like to do for fun?
That's a good question, actually. I like getting out of the house, mostly. I've got a nice mountain bike, so I love going out for rides in the woods behind my house anytime I get the chance, weather permitting, of course. What else? During COVID, I started messing about in the kitchen, trying different ingredients, following recipes that I find online. I'm not the world's best cook, but I just really enjoy it. I'm into my trivia as well, so I'm big into pub quizzes. And yeah, that's about it, really. Okay, so now you've heard both mine and Kat's story. Don't worry if you didn't catch everything the first time. We're about to go back to the start of our stories and go through them again and highlight the best vocabulary and grammar to help you talk about your hobbies. And if there are any main differences between American and British English, we'll highlight them, we'll wave our little flags, and we'll talk and compare them a little bit more. So, back to the start, Kat. What do you like to do for fun?
What do I like to do for fun? Sometimes when
Oh,
you're thinking of your answer, you might just kind of say the question back to the person. So if Mark asks me, what do you like to do for fun? What do I like to do for fun? So we
yeah.
can kind of use this as a time filler if you need a little time to think. Now, this question is a really, really common question. What do you like to do for fun? What do you like to do for fun? Now, sometimes you might hear the phrase, what do you do? What do you do? I usually think work right away. So, what do you do for work? Or what do you do for fun? What do you like to do for fun? What do you do for fun? These are both very common questions, getting to know people. You can ask your colleagues, your new friends, people you just met when you're getting to know them. So, I want to get to know Mark a little bit better. So, Mark, what do you like to do for fun?
That's a good question, actually. That's a good question, actually. So I'm doing the same strategy as Kat. I need a few seconds to think. And a good phrase you could say is, that's a good question, actually. What do I like to do for fun? If you need a few seconds or a bit of extra time to think, that's a good question, actually. What do I like? So we both needed a bit of time to think. Back to your side when we have some ideas. What kind of things do you like to do for fun?
Well, I'd say I'm a huge fan of traveling.
There we go.
So, yeah, exactly. I answered it. I finally answered the question. So, the whole sentence is I would say I'm a huge fan of traveling. Why are we using a conditional here? I'd say this. It's because we're missing part of the sentence. If you asked me, I would say. That's kind of what's missing there as part of the conditional. So it's kind of another way to say, well, in my opinion, or if I had to choose, I would say, I do this. So I'd say I'm a huge fan of traveling. So I am a huge fan of, and then you can use any activity in the ing form. I'm a huge fan of hiking. I'm a huge fan of traveling, cooking, knitting. I'm a huge fan of, and then give us an activity. So when we say I'm a big fan or I'm a huge fan of something, that means we really, really like it. Okay. I'm a big fan, not just of sports. Yay, go sports, but of other things as well.
It's funny you said knitting. My mum is a huge fan of knitting as well. She does it all the time.
Okay. So, Mark, I gave you a couple of seconds to think about it, but what kind of things do you like doing for fun?
I like getting out of the house mostly. I've got a nice mountain bike, so I love going out for rides in the woods behind the house anytime I get the chance, weather permitting. So I like getting out of the house. This is not a specific hobby or an activity, but it means I like being outside, outdoors, maybe in nature, in fresh air. Also, getting out of the house feels like my house is a little bit boring, or maybe it's sort of, not very exciting. There's not a lot of things to do. Sometimes if you spend a long time at home watching TV and that's boring, and you look at your phone, you're like, oh, that's boring too. I just need to get out of the house. When I'm at home, maybe I feel a bit tired. I just want to sleep or I can't think. Getting out of the house will help me refresh. I'll feel more awake. I'll feel more energized. And yeah, that's what I like doing. I like getting out of the house mostly. So I like being outdoors. I've got a nice mountain bike, one of those big bikes that can go off-road. And I love going out for rides. I ride a bike or I take a bike ride. So I like going out for rides. You could also say I like going out for walks if I use my feet. I love going out for rides in the woods behind the house anytime I get the chance. How often do I go for a ride? Anytime I get the chance. So that's quite often. That sounds like I really enjoy doing it and I want to do it as often as possible. Anytime I get the chance. I've got an hour free. Oh, I'll take the bike to the woods. Anytime I get the chance. Weather permitting. Weather like sunny, cloudy, rainy. If it's too rainy or too cold, I won't go cycling. So weather permitting. Weather permitting is like if the weather allows me or gives me permission to go. If it's too rainy or cold, I will stay home. So weather permitting, I like going out for rides in the woods because I like getting out of the house. So back to your side, you mentioned that you like traveling. How often do you get to travel?
I don't get to do it as often as I'd like to, but hopefully I'll have more time to do it in the future. So I think this happens to a lot of people. I don't get to do it as often as I'd like to. So I love traveling. All right. I love traveling. It's amazing. I'm a huge fan of it, but I don't get to travel or I don't get to do it as often as I would like to. Meaning I want to travel more. If you gave me some time, some money, some free time, I would like to travel. Yeah, if you gave me all of these things, I would like to. But I don't get to do it as often as I'd like to. Now, we are talking about traveling. So we could use this for lots of different free time activities, right? Hobbies and activities. I don't get to do it. I don't get to play soccer. I don't get to knit. I don't get to cook. I don't get to do it as often as I'd like to, but hopefully I'll have more time to do it in the future. Hopefully in the future, I'll have more time. Fingers crossed, right? Hopefully I'll have more time to do it in the future.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so what else do you like to do, Mark?
What else? During COVID, I started messing about in the kitchen, trying different ingredients, following recipes that I find online. I'm not the world's best cook, but I just really enjoy it. So again, Kat asked me another question, and I needed a little more time to think. What else? What else? Oh, I have an idea. During COVID, I started messing about. Aha, okay, right. What was the flag for? Let's start with that.
I would probably say maybe messing around,
Uh,
and you say messing about, messing
yes.
about.
Right. Yeah. Brits like to use about as the particle in these phrasal verbs. So hanging about, looking about, messing about.
Hmm.
If I'm messing about in the kitchen, then I'm trying to play with different ingredients. Maybe make some weird or strange combinations with different fruits and vegetables. Maybe it tastes weird. Maybe it tastes great. I'm kind of experimenting. I think the beginning of the sentence is most interesting. During COVID, I started messing about. Those years during COVID where you had to stay at home was also a great chance to pick up some new hobbies. And I know quite a few people who tried doing new things or started doing new hobbies. So I started cooking, I started knitting, let's say. And this is a very useful phrase you could use if you did anything new between 2020 and
Now,
2022. Now,
basically
yeah,
still now.
right. During COVID, when you say during COVID, I think of those 2 or 3 years.
For sure.
Yeah. And so a lot of people did some or tried some new things at home, trying different ingredients, following recipes that I find online. If you have a cookbook or a recipe on your phone, the verb is follow. They say add the butter. I add the butter, add
Mhm.
add the sugar, follow the recipe. I'm not the world's best cook. I just really enjoy it. So just because you have a hobby doesn't mean you're really good at it. That doesn't matter. If you're having fun, that's the most important thing. And if you know you're not very good at the activity, I'm not the world's best, and then the job. I'm not the world's
Um,
best athlete. I'm not the world's best runner, but I still go running and it's fun. I'm not the world's best cyclist or the world's fastest cyclist, but that doesn't matter. I just really enjoy it. Sometimes it's quite hard to explain why you like something. I like it because I just really enjoy it. So if you don't know
I
how to explain yourself, that's a great phrase.
I know the feeling because I'm not the world's best singer. Believe me, I'm not very good at singing. I don't know why. I just really enjoy it.
Right. Just
Even
really
though I'm
enjoy it.
bad, even though I'm bad at it, right? So yeah,
Right.
I get that. I get that.
Exactly right. Having fun is the most important thing.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So for me, when I want to unwind, I like watching TV. I didn't used to be into reality TV, but I really get into it when it's on. This might be something I picked up during COVID as well, just to waste time, right? So when I want to unwind, okay, so this kind of phrase here, when I want to do something, when I want to unwind, that those two words there, I want to, often become the word wanna. When I wanna do this, when I wanna do that, I don't wanna do this, I don't wanna do that. When I wanna unwind, some things that we do for fun are very full of activity, right? We will have lots of energy. We go outside, we get out of the house. But sometimes I do things for fun where I just want to de stress and I just want to unwind. And to unwind is to kind of release that stress. So when I want to unwind, I like watching TV. If that's simple, right? I like watching TV. Now, I do want to mention just a couple of little grammar points. When we say I like, we can absolutely say I like to watch TV. I like to watch TV. This is usually kind of sounds like a fact, okay? Yep, I like to watch TV. But when we say I like watching TV, it feels like we're part of an activity. That's kind of why sometimes we use the ing form. So I love watching TV. I like watching TV. I like to watch TV. I love to watch TV. They almost have exactly the same meaning, but watching TV feels more like the activity. Laying on the couch, watching TV, maybe eating some snacks, scrolling through your phone. It sounds like a whole activity that's going on. Here's another phrase we can use. I didn't used to be into reality TV, but I really get into it when it's on. We've got a lot of little words here. So I didn't used to be into reality TV. So when I say I'm into something, I-N-T-O, I'm into cooking, I'm into watching TV. It means I like it. I am into an activity. I am into cooking. I'm into cooking. Now we're going to use it in the past. I didn't used to be into reality TV, meaning in the past, I didn't like it. In the past, I didn't like reality TV. I didn't used to be into reality TV, but I really get into it when it's on. To get into something means you become more and more interested. Maybe at the beginning you think, this might be a little boring. And then at the end, you're hooked and you can't stop watching it because you get more and more into it. You get more and more interested. So I didn't used to be into reality TV, but I really get into it when it's on, meaning when it's on TV.
Yeah, it's a good phrase. That works with books, movies, TVs. If you
Absolutely.
get into the book, you're like, the book is getting closer and closer to your face. Like you start eating the popcorn,
Absolutely.
you stop blinking.
You get into a sports game, you get into a TV show, you get into a book, then you
Right.
become more and more interested in it. All right. So, Mark, I know you like to get out of the house, but is there anything else that you like to do for fun?
I'm into my trivia as well. So I'm big into pub quizzes.
Mm.
Okay. So this phrase, I can't really explain. I think it is a bit more of a British phrase. I'm
Mhm.
into my trivia. Oh, yeah. I'm into my sports. Oh, yeah. I'm into my
Mm.
cooking. My trivia, I don't know why it's my, but I can equally say I'm into trivia. I like trivia. Facts about different countries, facts or questions about music. I think lots of British people watch trivia TV shows, especially in the afternoon, and I'm into my trivia. Again, you can apply this to any activity. I'm into my sports,
Yeah.
I'm into my football, I'm into my
I
traveling.
I would definitely say this, but Mark, when you tell me, oh, I'm into my trivia, I feel like maybe some people make fun of you a little bit for it because that is very specific to you. Like, oh, Mark's into his video games. I think they're a little
Oh,
silly, but
right.
he likes them. That's kind of
Mm,
when I would use that as well. I would definitely use that in American English too.
right. But about someone else, I see, like
Well, yeah.
amazing.
I mean, yeah, I'm into my little things. It kind of means that I'm the only one that seems to like this. A lot of my friends don't really do it, but I'm into my
Mm,
my little romance books that I like. So for sure.
I see. Like I could be a little bit embarrassed about it, but I'm
Maybe a
not.
little bit.
Yeah, like I
Maybe a
know
little
it's
bit.
silly,
Yeah.
but so yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I think lots of Brits do like trivia, me included. I'm into my trivia as well. So I'm big into pub quizzes.
Yes.
I'm big into. I can say I'm into pub quizzes. I like pub quizzes. I'm big into pub quizzes means I really,
Mhm.
really like them. And I also
Would you
enjoy taking
say,
part in them as well.
sorry, would you also say I'm well into, or is that too British?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm
Would you?
well into pub quizzes.
That's
That would
so
be
British. That's
super
really
British,
British.
but only in certain regions of England
Oh,
as
I
well.
see. Okay.
So down in the southeast where I'm from, yes, that was well good. Means that was really good. Or I'm well into pub
Okay.
quizzes. Sounds like someone
Okay.
just from Essex or like the southeast of
Got
England where
it.
I'm
Got
from.
it.
But yeah, that's a good question. I should have put that in. But yeah, so I'm into my trivia. as well. So I'm big into pub quizzes. Pub quizzes are competitions or trivia contests. You can go to a pub and the quiz master reads questions. And if you get the most questions correct, you win a prize, maybe a small amount of money or some free drinks. And the questions are always about geography, history, popular culture like music and movies and actors and things like that. So yeah, I'm big into pub quizzes.
So just to tie everything up, if I had more time, I'd probably spend every weekend planning a trip or watching a new show. So we've got a little bit more grammar for you. If I had more time, I'd spend every weekend planning a trip. So why do we use this grammar? If I had more time, I would do this. Because this isn't real life. We're thinking of a dream. We're thinking of something that isn't true, right? It's just thoughts, ideas, imagination, right? So if I had more time, I would do this. If I had more money, I would travel more. If I had more time, I would have more hobbies. If I didn't work, I would travel, right? So we can kind of set this up. We have the first part in the past and the second part with would, right? If I had this, I would do that. So if I had more time, it's my imagination, my dream, I'd probably spend every weekend planning a trip or watching a new show.
That sounds pretty nice, to be honest. I think
I
I
know.
would do the same
It would
thing.
be nice. It would be nice, wouldn't it? All right. So what about you, Mark? Anything else?
Yeah, that's about it, really.
Okay.
That's it. So at the beginning of my answer, I had a phrase to save some time. That's a good question, actually. That makes me sound more deep and intelligent when I really just want more time. Yes. And then at the end, when you don't have anything more to say and you want to finish talking, that's about it, really. It's not a super confident phrase, so I probably wouldn't recommend it at work or giving a presentation. I wouldn't do it
That's
in
a
a
good point.
professional environment because you don't sound very professional or confident. But when you're talking to friends, or maybe you're just in a unusual situation where you have to talk about yourself, and sometimes that feels a little bit uncomfortable when you want to wrap up or finish in a more casual way. Yeah, that's about it, really.
And I will confidently end this video. So, all right, now that we've heard all of the vocabulary, let's listen to the stories once more. So, what do I like to do for fun? Well, I'd say I'm a big fan of traveling. I don't get to do it as often as I'd like to, but hopefully I'll have more time to do it in the future. When I want to unwind, of course, I like watching TV. I didn't used to be into reality TV, but I really get into it when it's on. If I had more time, I'd probably spend every weekend planning a trip or watching a new show.
And here's my story one more time. That's a good question, actually. I like getting out of the house mostly. I've got a nice mountain bike, so I love going out for rides in the woods behind the house anytime I get the chance, weather permitting. What else? During COVID, I started messing about in the kitchen, trying different ingredients, following recipes that I find online. I'm not the world's best cook, but I just really enjoy it. And I'm into my trivia as well, so I'm big into pub quizzes. And yeah, that's about it, really.
All right, so now it's your turn. How would you answer this question? What do you like to do for fun? Write us a comment using some of the vocabulary and phrases that you learned in today's episode. We read and reply to every single comment we get here on YouTube.
Yes, we do. And as always, we already have the bonus materials for this episode and all of our previous podcast episodes as well. Those come with the transcripts, the picture dictionary, listening activities. Those are all waiting for you in the link in the description below.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We'll see you next time for another episode here on High Level Listening.
Bye.